How's it going, everybody? Vin and Justin here, as he's laughing at me doing my intro because I haven't practiced this at all. Talking
Oh God, that's great.
the 229's fallout from last night between Conor McGregor and Khabib. No, fuck, I had it earlier. Oh, sorry, John. Gonna have to take this one off the website. Khabib. Wow, I can't say without looking at his name. So hold on, let me actually go to the actual thing of it.
Then you're breaking under the pressure.
All right, so we're just gonna say Khabib. We're not gonna try to be like we know
Khabib and Conor. Everyone knows who we're talking
Everybody
about.
knows Khabib versus Conor, so that'll be good. So we're gonna talk about that. Pretty much the match itself, the fight. Is it called matches in UFC? I don't even think so.
Yeah, match fight.
All right, so
interchangeable.
we're gonna talk about the fight a little bit because we both saw it. John doesn't like UFC. Apparently, I didn't know that until we asked him to actually talk about it, and he said no.
110% non-interested.
So he's not interested
He
in
used
this
last
fight.
night with me.
So this is going to be probably episode 1.5 if we're going to make this an actual episode.
We'll decide
still
later.
going to be recording on Thursday, as far as I believe. I haven't been told otherwise yet.
Looks good.
Make sure if you guys are watching to go follow us on our new Twitter account at Long Islander Pod. It'll be in the description below. I didn't put it in yet, so don't check it if you're live. For that, just go on Twitter and search it. So, Justin, let's talk about the ways we actually watched this show, because I thought it was pretty funny how I beat you in worst way to watch this show possible.
Okay, so since I'm poor and a college student, I decided to go through Reddit, which is what I really use to stream everything that I can't watch, between football games that I need for fantasy or other baseball games that aren't the Yankees because I have MLB TV and I want to watch like 4 games at once. So I'll just use Reddit. There's a Reddit UFC streams page. Shout out to them. They're the best. And let's tell everyone how you watched.
All right. So I went on YouTube and I saw that UFC was streaming it, but I didn't realize they were also going to charge me to watch it. So as soon as I saw that, I clicked off and I went to some random YouTube live like us. So I went to some random thing. So maybe we have hope on getting some viewers down the road. And
Hopefully.
I saw somebody holding a piece of paper saying, oh, actually it was on their phone. They had the note.
Yeah.
And it said, I'm going to shout him out too. So it said at Vino_song. I went to that Instagram. He was actually live and he had his iPhone right in front of the TV and he streamed it all.
You know what? A stream's a stream. Who cares?
Big shout out to him.
Big shout out.
So, Justin, I don't know how much MMA UFC you actually watch. I don't know if are you like a casual? Pretty much, you just watch the big fight.
Yeah. I mean, like sometimes if it's on FS1, there's really nothing else to watch. Like I'll just tune in. I appreciate it. There's nothing better than watching some grown men or women just beating the absolute crap out of each other. It's fun.
So I watch a little bit more than you.
Yeah.
I follow a few MMA UFC websites.
Mm-hmm.
So what were you expecting out of this fight going in?
I'm not going to lie to you. I expected Conor to dominate, as he usually does. I bet on him, so I'm a little upset about that, losing the money. But I said from the beginning, if it goes down to the ground, Khabib has the fight. But if it's going to stay a striking match, Conor's going to knock him out within the first 2 rounds. But Khabib got into the ground early, and Conor just looked dead after the first. After the first round, he was just done, and he wanted nothing to do with that fight afterwards.
Yeah, so I watched a few Khabib fights before, and I knew of his wrestling. You know, in Russia, they wrestle bears and crap like that. I think that's actually what they said on one of the pressers, that he actually fought a bear.
True, and Putin was there with his shirt off and everything. Yeah, it's a big thing.
Which, if he actually wrestled bears, and if that's in Russia what they do, I never want to go to war with Russia.
Never.
So, being a wrestler in high school and doing that, I was a big fan of Khabib when I watched him.
Yeah.
So pretty much I bet Khabib. I know a lot of people weren't, but I felt like his wrestling and how he actually did in the fight, just hold Conor down, put your weight on somebody. That wears you out. I mean,
that wears you out.
In high school wrestling, we had 2-minute periods, and one period I couldn't get up, and I had this guy just lay on me for 2 minutes, and I was wrestling 285 that match.
Jesus Christ.
And I was weighing in at that match. I think it was at 203 that day, if I remember correctly.
Oh my!
And I was just exhausted. So imagine like a cage fight where you're getting punched and everything.
Yeah.
With the guy weighing on you. That took a lot out of Conor. And the first 2 rounds, Conor realized, well, he really didn't realize at first that this was the way Khabib was going to come after him. Because I believe it was like a minute and a half into the match.
Yeah.
Conor was down. Khabib shot on him a few times. But Conor, I know not a lot of people notice it that aren't big fight fans, but Conor really had some decent defenses against Khabib's wrestling.
Yeah, yeah, he was really using anything he could to try and just like kind of clinch up like this, hold back his arm, stop him from getting a better grip on him. I mean, Conor fought like hell on the ground, but we all know he's not a ground fighter. He's an amazing striker. I think that's why, whether you agree with the theatrics of the Mayweather McGregor fight or anything, I think that's why it was still a good fight, because at the heart of it, Conor is still a really, really good striker. That's how he gets all of his wins. Really, he just on the ground, just absolutely dominating somebody. But
now, in case you guys are actually wondering why it says Jonathan when Justin is talking, Justin didn't want to do this at his apartment or anything, so he went to John's apartment to record and is using John's laptop.
Yeah, my parents don't love me enough to get me a Mac. No, I'm just kidding. Mom, Dad, I love you. But
shout out to the Foley clan.
Shout out to the Foley clan. But everything about John's setup is much nicer. So if I can afford to do it here, I will choose to do it here.
All right, so back to the fight. So I think it was pretty obvious from anybody watching that after 2 rounds, it was Khabib had won both rounds, right? I don't think that's anything you could dispute.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, in the third round, Conor started to show some life again, just striking. I feel like, if I'm remembering correctly, I think most of that round was like staying upright, not on the ground. So I think that really helped him. And then round 4,
before we even get into round 4,
okay.
Khabib even startled Conor with a punch. I don't know if I believe that was at the beginning of round 3.
Yeah, and Conor kind of like stumbled, and he was like, "Oh my god!"
Now, did you think he was getting knocked out there? Because I had like a 90% belief that he was getting knocked out in that sequence
for a second, but I saw Conor like he looked and he was like, and then like he was just like, "Okay, we're back." And then he just comes in and he came in with like a good sequence like right after that, and I was like, "Oh, he's fine."
Yeah, and I believe it was in the 3rd round too. I should have really wrote this down instead of just going off the top of my head. But that Conor was taken down at one point, and in there, Khabib just started wrecking on him, where the ref really could have stopped the fight if he wanted to.
Yeah.
I felt it was smart on the ref's part because Conor was defending a little bit. He looked like
he was definitely defending enough that that the ref could warrant keeping the fight going, because Conor was still like up and like he wasn't like he wasn't like slumped on the ground like this, just getting wailed on. Like he was up and he was alert. Even after he tapped out in the 4th round, he was like, "I'm ready." But if he wasn't about to die from a chokehold, he would have kept going.
Well, actually, it wasn't a chokehold. They called it. They said it was a face jaw crank.
Yeah.
So basically, he had this part like underneath right above the chin.
Yeah.
He just cranked that back, and the pressure on the neck just made him tap.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So But yeah, a lot of people said rear naked choke, but it really wasn't.
Like that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, yeah. On the live,
then,
I thought it, and then when they showed replays, I understood that it wasn't.
Yeah, because I remember even Joe Rogan was like, "Oh, he's got him in a choke."
Yeah,
And then they showed a different angle. He was like, "Oh my god, it's a crank!" And then as soon as he said it's a crank, you just see Conor go,
yeah.
and then the match was over. And then all hell breaks loose, which is my favorite part of last night by
Well,
far.
yeah, that's why UFC. That's why we're actually having a show, because I don't think many people outside of the UFC audience really would have cared all that much.
Mm-hmm.
So in case if somehow you've been living under a rock for the past day and haven't heard about this, so this is where I actually pull up my notes. So after Conor taps out, Khabib stands over him and yells, and Conor kind of just looks the other way, you know. Khabib took the whole pressers and everything. He took that personally, you know, going back from the bus in Brooklyn,
Yeah,
and all that. So he took that extremely personal, and he jumps out, and he goes right after Conor McGregor's jiu-jitsu coach, who fights on Strikeforce.
yes,
Dylan
right.
Danis.
Yeah, he went right after him, hopped the fence like as fast as I've ever seen anyone hop the cage before, and literally just hops into the crowd, and they just start going at it. And Chris Pratt, fun fact, was like right by them.
Yeah, I heard that there was some Guardian of the Galaxy people in there.
Yeah, so he was just there, and there's a whole big thing like on his Twitter that like his Twitter is really funny to begin with, but after the fight, it's like, what did I just watch? Oh my god!
I don't follow Chris Pratt on Twitter. So
great follow if you can.
So
shout out to Chris Pratt
afterwards, because I haven't heard about that yet.
Yeah, no, he was like freaking out, but it was really funny. And then
it was three people.
Oh yeah, three people hopped in. Three of Khabib's goons hop in their cage and start wailing on Conor. And there is one thing I will say about Conor. Conor just kind of separated himself from everything. Yeah. He didn't throw any punches. He didn't escalate it anymore.
Actually, before you go on
punches.
Bleacher Report, I believe it was, they showed a video of a fan's perspective, showing it on like the big screen on above the octagon.
Yeah.
And apparently Conor throws the first punch at the one guy. So the one guy hops in the cage.
You see, I hadn't seen that perspective. Yeah. I'm just going based off of last night. And last night, it looked like one of the guys just hops in and starts and pushes Conor, and then they cut away.
Yeah, by the UFC broadcast, it looked like that. But when you see it from the fans' perspective, you could see Conor throws a little of a jab, but he understands and one of Khabib's guys comes in and takes that little bit of a punch. You know, Conor's still out of it. He just came off the ground after a tap. You know,
he's trying to get his the blood flowing back to his head again.
Yeah.
So all of this happening at once is just not ideal for anyone.
Yeah. So he gets attacked from behind. A few people jump him. He doesn't throw any more punches than that one punch from the video.
Yeah.
So that happens. Security comes out. UFC has their own security, if you're not aware, as well as the venue having their own as well.
Yeah, speaking of the security, what surprised me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember another fight where before the match starts, they are there, standing there like this in between Conor and Khabib.
Yeah,
just trying to step. I have never seen that before. Usually it's just like those two looking and staring into each other's eyes, trying to intimidate them. But this time, Conor's
doing his crazy walk.
He's doing his little crazy walk that he does. Makes him look like Squidward.
Yeah.
And just and you just see security there, just you're not touching him before the bell goes off.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you've seen much of the pressers and everything that Khabib has said.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
But going into this, I think this also was a reason why Khabib did what he did.
Yeah.
But he took this extremely personal and everything. So Connor does this for the theatrics, I believe. And
He does it. He does it because it sells. It sells fights.
Yeah, it makes him more money in the long run.
It makes both of them more money in the long run. He's doing them a favor. Just put your head down and deal with it. I wish people would understand this.
Yeah, so typically because UFC releases their numbers, but they're blown out of proportion of pay-per-view buys, Khabib usually gets around 200,000 buys for like the main event fight of him.
Yeah.
Which is released. It's really hard to get through, but there's a guy, Dave Meltzer, who you wouldn't know. He's more of a wrestling background.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Like wrestling media type. So he gets it in with some of the pay-per-view people to get the numbers because they don't have to release them. But that doesn't go off of like pay-per-views or anything.
Yeah.
So they talk about that, and you know, you get in with Conor, you're on the next level. So
yeah,
they're drawing that. But just Khabib, he went, if nothing happened after that fight, if it was just Khabib tapped out Conor, everything happens, Khabib goes from 200,000 to 800,000 for a main event.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If it was just that, but now Khabib really he messed himself up because now his entire posse that got arrested is probably, like Dana White was saying, they're going to need new visas to get into the country. He's going to be suspended. There's going to be fines. He might get stripped of his title.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk to you about.
The Las Vegas Fighting Commission and UFC. Like they might just be like, listen, like you lose your title. And I was thinking last night that they might automatically DQ Khabib. Just for jumping in, and then I guess by default, I don't know if by default Conor would get it.
Well, how that would work is if they were, because that's an old time. I know they do that a lot back in the day with wrestling, like WWE stuff, that the heels would attack after the bell and keep on going after they win. And the referee would reverse the decision.
Gotcha.
But they would keep their belt because it was a disqualification. That's a wrestling thing. You can't lose it on a DQ.
Yeah, I don't know what the rules are.
I believe they would have to relinquish the belt and it would become vacant. I'm not 100% on that.
So basically, what's happening now?
Well, I don't know if you heard this because I don't know how much you caught after the fight. Because after the fight immediately went off, I turned it off and I went to Twitter and I was going to write about how wrestling is so dominant, which I eventually did.
Yeah.
But I just saw what the hell is happening and everything. So I went right back on and I saw this. But Dana White comes out as well as all the security. And he says he's not putting the belt on Khabib.
I watched all of what happened live because I watched that, and then almost immediately after he taps out, you just see Khabib yelling, "Hop over," and then all hell broke loose. So I was sitting there on my couch. I was like, I need to figure out how this is going to end. Yeah. And they get all the cameras in, and you just hear Dana White saying, "I'm scared that if I put this belt on you, people are going to start throwing stuff into the ring."
Yeah,
into the octagon, which people did anyway. Because if and then Khabib go into the tunnel, people start throwing their food and their drinks right on him. And then Khabib starts trying to fight the security that's holding him back. And then all the troopers are like, "What the hell are you doing?" Yeah. And it was the most fun I've ever had watching post-fight in my life.
Yeah, well, that crowd was definitely 90% McGregor, if not more.
Yeah.
Which, Connor, they meet at the press conference. Dana White first said both fighters are not getting their check at the moment. Connor getting the $3 million purse. Well, their base, I believe it is. And
they're not. No, he said purse.
Oh, it was the purse too?
Yeah, he said they're not getting their checks right now. They're holding them. Yeah.
Well, eventually he went back on that. He said Connor got his, but Khabib, due to his actions, still is held out. I don't know if they plan on giving it to him still.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are giving Dana White flack on, why didn't you just strip him there? What people don't understand is Dana White's no longer the head of it all. He answers to a room of people.
Yeah,
now because UFC got bought out.
Yeah, he's the face of UFC.
Yeah, he's the figurehead.
Yeah, he's the figurehead, but he's not the guy. Like, I'm sure as soon as that happened, Dana White was on the phone with dozens and dozens of other people just trying to figure out what's their next move, because not only does it affect like the gambling, because if Khabib, I saw people like saying like, oh, well, I bet on Conor. So if Khabib loses his title because of that, technically Conor didn't lose.
Yeah,
I get my money back.
No, I think Vegas is going to stick with it.
Yeah, no, they're idiots if they actually believe they're getting their money back.
Yeah, I think Vegas is going to stick with the decision. Just the final, Conor tapped out. That's the end of the match.
Yeah, and it's also bad for the sport because now it's just like when Conor threw the barricade.
Yeah. Well, I saw a lot of people saying, oh, Conor deserved this. He threw the barricade. Why wasn't he suspended? This fight is regulated by a fighting commission.
Yeah.
What Conor did at a press conference, which Khabib actually started by cornering his teammate, and that's what sent Conor to America at that point and to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
that's not regulated.
He flew in. No one talks about this. Conor McGregor flew in from Ireland to defend his boy. That's the type of friends I want in my life.
That's some brotherhood.
That's what I want in my life.
Justin,
John,
if you were to get
would you fly in from another country to defend my honor? There you go.
Well, wait, Justin, just so you know, if you were to get jumped right now and you knew the people and you told me, I don't think I'm flying up for a while. I think I'm like, you know what? They got you. You know, it sucks, but
sucks to suck.
Sucks to suck sometimes. And
yeah, but
I expect full back at me unless this actually happens. Then I expect it to come out. Oh, nice. Whatever you're drinking.
Just water.
Oh, look at you, healthy. But
I'll lose some weight.
So, do you think? Oh, so one thing I wanted to touch on. So the 3 people were arrested.
Yeah,
but Conor decided not to press charges. Which, after that video came out of where you could see Conor throwing a first punch, possibly, I think that's a smart move. He realized, hey, I might have thrown a punch in the action. Pressing charges isn't going to do anything at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And maybe Conor realizes, like, maybe he did, because I wasn't there for all of like the press, like the pre-fight press conferences and like the fight announcements and everything. But like, if Khabib is like saying like, oh, he was talking about my family, he was talking about my religion. Okay, maybe Conor started something.
Well, yeah. Well,
so maybe it's better just to like wipe it clean, and he can get back at them when the rematch happens. Because anyone who doesn't think that there's going to be a rematch, like, there has to be.
Well,
UFC is going to make it happen.
I think next year there's going to be a rematch. I think
100%.
I think the buys are going to be there, so that's going to drive UFC to do it. Do you think Khabib stripped after this?
Yes, I do, because after last night, UFC was put on such a microscope. I think it's going to be hard for them to recover if they don't, especially because it happened against Conor McGregor, who is the face of UFC.
Yeah. Well, I think Khabib ruined what he had, because say nothing happened after that fight. 100%. Nothing happened after that fight. Conor taps and Khabib stands tall. Like, maybe the yelling because of all the pride, but nothing else happens. He just takes his belt and he goes into the back.
Yeah, and he goes into the back.
So at that point, Khabib is that hero, because, you know, as many people love Conor McGregor, more hate him.
Yeah.
Because of his theatrics or whatever it is. Which I was shocked at this point, because knowing Khabib's background, I was very shocked Conor didn't take a tune-up fight before this, because he hasn't fought since Mayweather. Yeah,
he hasn't fought since Mayweather. You know, I was thinking that too. I hadn't known that. I was just, they were like, oh yeah, his first fight since Mayweather. I was like, wasn't Mayweather like last December?
It was August 26th, I believe, of last year.
Really?
It was.
It was that.
It was the August. It was August 20 something. Hold on, I could figure it out quick.
Okay, yeah. So it's been over a year since he fought. Yeah, no, I don't. That's not smart. Even if it's just like some no-name fight against like some new guy in UFC who Conor would absolutely destroy, at least you get the fight in.
Yeah, but really, as I'm just figuring out, it was August 26, 2017.
Okay.
So a little over 13 months. I think Conor is going to fight the beginning of 2019. I think that's going to be his next fight. And what I think, I don't know how much you know of UFC. Do you know the light heavyweight situation or no?
No, I don't. I just know that they were fighting for what was it? Like the light. It was like the lightweight title last night. Yeah.
So I think that title is going to get stripped, and it's going to go to McGregor Ferguson for UFC fighters that know that for the belt, for the interim belt.
Mm-hmm.
And then that builds up. Well, Khabib never lost it technically. He's still undefeated. And that's
Khabib could come in and try and get his belt back after his suspension because there's no way he's not suspended after this.
Yeah, well, I know you don't watch WWE, but for the past 5 years or so, being generous, WWE hasn't been able to write enough heat where they could have a storyline this big.
UFC fell into this publicity by accident because Khabib is a hothead and McGregor provoked him. You can't write a script like that.
No. Do you think we see Khabib again? Do you think, because I know he's going to be suspended, he could fight in Russia if some money hungry guy is going to throw all this money at Khabib and want to deal with UFC legal? But will Khabib and UFC have a relationship after this?
Yeah, because there's going to be a rematch. 100%.
So you think there will be? You think 100% there will be?
UFC would be a lot stupider than I think they are if they don't have a rematch after this. But like I'm talking like you said, like early 2019. Let the suspensions happen for however long. Let them both fight at least another fight or two, and then bring them back. I don't want like these long fights. I don't want like these long fightless periods happening, and then all of a sudden you're fighting again. Like, no, take those tune-up fights, make it a better match.
Well, what I was saying is Conor's going to fight because I don't think Conor's getting suspended. So
I don't think so either.
I think Khabib's going to be out a year, personally.
Yeah, about that.
But Conor just signed a fight deal. I think he has 6 fights, so I think that was the first of that deal.
Yeah, so now it's going to...
So he has 5 more fights at least in the UFC under the deal.
In a perfect world, fight 3 or 4 would be the Khabib rematch.
Yeah. And it's going to be a year afterwards or so if that fight happens. The publicity that's going to get. I mean, stemming back to Brooklyn, which happened 6 months ago.
Yeah, no, and people are still talking about that. So, this is going to be something that's going to be long-term, that's going to help UFC long-term. Yeah, it's bad now, but it's helping them so much right now because they've never been as popular as they are right now.
Well, you know what else would help long-term?
What?
Subscribing to our YouTube channel.
That is correct, Vin.
At the Long Islanders Podcast, which you should probably be on right now if you're watching this video.
At the Long Islanders Podcast, at Long Islanders Pod on Twitter. Give us all a follow. Our links are going to be down in the description below. Follow us, talk sports with us. Tell us what you want to talk. Tell us what you want us to talk about. I mean, we're game for whatever. So let's hear it.
I mean, it's 3 different guys, so you're going to get really different perspectives from each one of us.
Exactly.
Like a little bit on what we have in store for this Thursday about MLB. I think we're going to have a little bit of difference of opinion on the Yankees-Red Sox, actually.
Maybe. We'll see.
And I know we're going to have a little difference and a little bit rubbing in my face of when I said Clayton Kershaw was going to be Felix Hernandez this playoffs. And he goes out and throws 7 innings.
Yeah, and he
threw 8, sorry.
Yeah, he threw 60 pitches through 6.
Yeah, he ended up with 8 innings.
Yeah, so that's not Felix Hernandez. Felix Hernandez would have allowed 30 runs in the first inning.
Yeah, well, just to close up on this, does this UFC fallout, does this make you want to watch UFC anymore than you did 2 days ago?
Yes, it does.
Does it make you, even for stuff that's not Conor or Khabib related?
Yeah, it could. Like I said, I mean, like if it's a decent fight, I mean, I'll watch. I was just drawn to it because Conor McGregor is like the most notable guy, and I personally am a fan of the theatrics. I think it's great. I love the theatrics of it. So, I mean, more theatrics, I'd probably be drawn to it more. But like I said, nothing better than watching grown men and women just beat the absolute crap out of each other for 15 minutes.
Well, I think John is thanking you for not saying shit.
Yeah, I'm trying.
And I'm going to thank you, Justin, for, after my constant badgering today, of getting this actually to come into fruition.
Oh, you're welcome. Of course.
Making you go all the way across Philadelphia to get to John's apartment.
Yeah, glad I could.
So, you have any other closing remarks before we end this?
No, just like you said, follow us on YouTube, follow the Twitter, tell us what you guys want to hear. We're probably going to record on Thursday, talk about the next round of MLB playoffs, look at the NFL this past week, maybe some preseason NBA news if anything happens.
Yeah,
maybe more.
Check out the Dime podcast with Josh Rodriguez this week. I'm going to be a guest host on there.
That's right. Check out the Dime podcast.
Anything else? You want to throw out your own personal Twitter handle while we're out here?
Yeah, sure. You guys can follow me at Froley393, FROLEY 393. You can follow John Potts at JPOTTS _ pans, pots and pans. What a great Twitter handle. And Vin is Vin Pensabene.
Yeah, straight up. Just very basic. Okay. Very basic. No one spells it right.
I remember the old one.
Yeah.
I almost said the old one.
Now, is John actually sitting right there that he's just been there the whole time?
Yeah, well, he got out of the shower, so now he's sitting here and we're watching the Houston Dallas game.
Oh, okay. Because right now, it's top 9, 6-5, 2 out, second and third. If you want to turn that on.
Yeah, we might. We'll see.
All right. Well, Brian Dozier's up. The guy who I didn't realize.
Well, this game's in overtime.
Oh, so we got a lot of good sports on right now that we're not
good sports.
Well, that you're watching, but I don't set my setup this way where I can watch it while doing this.
I gotcha.
All right. Well, we've done enough Conor McGregor and Khabib. Hold on. Let me actually try his last name before we get off here so we can get a good laugh. As I'm looking at it. So, Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Totally butchered that.
Totally butchered it.
Can tell I do not know how to pronounce his last name.
You know what? We tried. That's what matters.
That's all that matters to me. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we'll see you Thursday. I'm assuming around 11 p.m. Eastern time, which is what we did last time.
Yeah, probably around.
Follow our Twitter at Long Islander Pod for updates on that when we're going live. I just did it for this one, so hopefully that worked, where it notified people that we were live. So hopefully that works out as we're figuring this stuff out, because we're a bunch of amateurs at this, if you can't tell.
Just 3 kids with a dream.
Just 3 kids with a dream. And that's how we should end this. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Go like the Twitter handle, follow, subscribe to the YouTube, and we'll see you guys Thursday night.
See you Thursday.